Look, I'll leave that up to the owners and the league officials to decide how we do things. But those are the rules. We know the rules before we engage uh, in this league, and we try to succeed, even though those rules make it difficult to build a dynasty or build a roster over multiple years. But John and his team have done an amazing job over the past 2 years with really difficult conditions to be competitive and to build a winning team. And we did the same thing in the offseason with less time. So I do think there's documentary potential there to follow GMs around in the offseason. I think there's a lot of great stories and a lot of good work to document. It's pretty incredible how they work and what they have to deal with. So what happens moving forward is up to others. So coaches and everybody involved will make the best of how we do things currently.
Given
Yeah, every team has that chance to begin the season, and that's very difficult to do with 28 other teams. But the mentality we have at LAFC is to try to win every game we play in, and we want to win as many games as possible this year. I'm hesitant to formulate clear goals as far as MLS Cups, this. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. Throughout the course of a season, many things happen, injuries, roster changes. So I can tell you that here we try to win the next game, and that's our objective with Seattle. Leadership, and something that we've always tried to do is onboard leadership. And leadership is something very valuable in this sport and in many team sports environments, and Hugo is that. It's easy to draw a comparison with players we've had in the past, like a Giorgio, a Gareth, Carlos. Different in a sense to Giorgio, same on the field, their instruction, their input, their tips, what they actually vocalize to players is super valuable and accurate, which is a huge help for all of us, but more so for the younger players. And to be reorganized, and I've been very impressed with Hugo. I don't know why I'm impressed, because I knew that was there, but it's a pleasure to see it in real time. And off the field, different than Giorgio, I think, a silent leader off the field in his own right, and Giorgio is 24/7. So differences, but we're all different people, and I think the team has accepted him with open arms, and he as well. So it's been integrated pretty quickly.
Is it part of the attraction? Obviously, it probably doesn't hurt being based in LA, right? When you're looking at players who want to have a different kind of experience at the end of their career and experience something new, maybe they've got a family, it probably doesn't hurt being where we are.
I think you answered your question.
Right.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place to live. No, and yes, of course it's an attraction, and I tell every new player the same thing. You will enjoy playing here, and I can give that to every player. They will enjoy their time here, but we ask of them, this is not a vacation. We will be competitive, and the level is high in training, and it's my job to keep it as high as possible, but players will enjoy the sport of football again here in LA. I think he'll always be part of LAFC. I don't know. Both the parties are working towards a solution, so that's a great sign. And both parties want to, so we'll leave it up to them. Carlos and I have a wonderful relationship. Doors are always open for him, but I stay out of the rest of the stuff.
He's not been here, but his presence, it sounds like it's been here. He still has space in the locker room, players still talking to him. So what's it been like to prepare for a season without Carlos, and how have you seen other guys fill that void?
I don't know about the locker room. I don't go in there. So if you've been in there and I haven't, then...
Just trusting Aaron Long, so...
Okay,
yeah.
All right. It's a good source.
Yeah.
Look, he's here for 6 years. He was our captain. Of course he's going to have a presence. And we don't erase people and people out of our memory here. We love Carlos, and I hope he comes back. But it's up to him and the club.
Well, why don't you in the locker room? Is it just the players?
That's the player space, yeah. I hated it when coaches went in locker rooms when I was a player. And so I am returning the favor. Well, I guess I'm not returning the favor.
Thank you.
The group you have here, how do you feel about them? Where are some question marks for you still? Where do you feel like you guys have some strengths?
I think our depth is our weakness. I feel really good about our first group, and a couple behind that, and then we're pretty young, and so our depth is part of the process in MLS and part of the challenge, um, and that will be a challenge this year to stay healthy. Our schedule until mid-May is pretty favorable. We just Saturday, so that makes it possible. But nobody is protected from injuries. They happen in games. This is the sport, and we're asking players on a daily basis to push the limit. And so injuries will happen, and then how we get out of those and when they happen and how many there are kind of determines a little bit of your success if your rosters are thin. I want them to take the I've got nothing to lose brave attitude, which is something we always try to do with all our players. We want to be the aggressor at LAFC. We want to play forward, score goals, and be fearless. And that's what I expect from younger players. I expect younger players to train harder than the older players, more experienced players, I should say. They need to work on their deficiencies. They need to be like sponges and soak up everything at all moments to become better, because they are behind experienced players, and you need to do more to surpass those players. It's not going to happen automatic. Nothing happens automatically in this business. It's with hard work, and a strong mentality goes a long way, but the work is irreplaceable. Yeah, he had a long off season, longer than others, and hadn't had a competitive match for a while. So we're working on his fitness, but he's able to play.
Okay, that's fair enough.
All right, we'll go to Zoom. Go ahead, Scott French.
Hey Steve, I got two questions for you. First off, with so much changeover, how has the acclimation process worked? How integrated are the newcomers, and how do you feel about your depth?
Hey, Scott. I love the integration process here in LA. It's awesome. Our team is. I've said it before. We have a rule, no. So our team is pretty amazing in onboarding new players and very open, and a lot of great leaders in that locker room and communicative people in general. And so that makes that process very smooth and positive. The depth is what it is. I think it's a great opportunity for a couple of younger players to step up and to prove they're good enough. And it's what we're asking them to do. And I'm really looking forward to their answers.
And lastly, that you aren't in the Champions League, what ways has that changed your preparation, and what ways has that been a plus?
It does change the preseason a little bit. Last year the message was to the players, we need to be a little more focused on, at times, conserving energy, meeting tactically, understanding. You can't press for 90 minutes, so there will be some moments in a deeper block. But making good decisions, not getting caught in between, not getting caught in these crazy counterattack matches. And so being a little smarter and conservative tactically was the message last preseason. This year is a return to our model. So we're hoping to be quite aggressive and to get after teams. And that is the approach in preseason, and doesn't erase the other side of it, but I think that is what we're allowed to do now, thinking Saturday till mid-May. Yeah, I heard he showed that goal to his group on day one of preseason. So that should tell you a lot about the game. I think it's a super healthy rivalry. Obviously, nothing between Brian and I think he's a fantastic guy and coach. His record speaks for himself, but I enjoy all the time I have when I get to pick his brain. And they're going to be a great team again this year. They're going to be definitely up there with the top of the league, I believe, and have a strong roster, a very balanced roster, loads of experience. They have continuity and predictability in their roster. Predictability is a positive for me, having a great understanding between the players because they played together for a while and had the same coach. So, yeah, it's going to be a great team, a team who wants to send a message on match day one. They want to beat the team that beat them at home in the playoffs last year. So I understand their motivation. My players will understand that as well, and we'll have answers. I'd like to think the integration with Omar is here a little easier than mine was in Germany. At least the language barrier is not the same. We do a lot of our coaching in Spanish, and we have on the field is probably only Spanish. So I don't think there's an issue there. I think giving new players as much information as possible about what status quo is and what it was and what we're trying to be and how their own individual attributes are going to help us is the key. And we've been doing that. It's with video work, it's communication, it's stopping training, it's asking players questions, letting them engage. And Omar and the other players have experienced that already. And from I can tell, they understand our model very well and are going to be great additions.